been quite a strong news week, busy news week, and social media has been buzzing with all the top stories and trends. Now, this week in local news, Oscar Pistorius took the online world by storm. Of course, us here at the SABC, we made headlines. And the Zimbabwe shutdown also raised concerns, while in international news, Brexit, Independence Day, and terrorist attacks topped the US presidential candidates. Now, as always, I'm in studio with the Managing Director of Roy Africa, Tonya Kure. Hello, Tonya.
Good morning, Evan. What a week.
Yes, what a week. What a mouthful. It seems as if all we are reporting on are the most incredible things that are happening. What did you make of this week?
Well, firstly, Oscar Pistorius still surprises me. On the day of the sentencing, he took over the social media world by 45% of our conversation, and that put everybody else into the back burner. But this week there's been some interesting stories. Even Zimbabwe shut down. They tried to shut down social media, worked for about an hour and a half, and we were all back. And so much for the shutdown, it actually ended up working. So it just shows the power of online and social media. So that was one of the biggest stories we had in social media this week, and very heavily reported here in SA, so a big story for us.
Now, of course, the thing that everyone was talking about was Oscar Pistorius. I spoke to you briefly earlier in the week when it came out, and that was really nice. But what was now that the dust has settled a little bit, what's the reaction? What are people saying about this?
Very negative, Eben. I think it's as negative as it was at the time when the initial judgment was passed.
Yeah.
So Judge Masipa still coming under fire for the 6-year sentence. People questioning why a 15-year minimum sentence for murder suddenly resulted in 6 years. People making comparisons to the SABC journalist robbers that got 15 years in comparison, and Jub as well for coming back into the spotlight.
Jub for driving a car. 4 people did die in that incident, and that's maybe a little bit. If I look at this chart right next to Oscar Pistorius, is us here at the SABC and Mr. Mutsuneng leading the charge pretty much. What are people saying about this?
Still very much focused on the censorship, the Right to Know campaign, the RSG journalists, all that sort of thing has come into the spotlight and doesn't give any sign of relief from as far as the charts are concerned. But just to, again, Oscar Pistorius, it never ceases to amaze me how the story has such longevity, and people now call him for an appeal on the sentencing, and I wonder, will it ever end?
There's no indifference with Oscar Pistorius, is what keeps it alive. People either love him or hate him, and that kind of talks to the media. If people are indifferent about you, you've got no future in this business.
Well, yeah, you don't make headlines for long, right?
They've got to either they, the ones that love you, they don't talk about you. The ones that hate you, they tweet about you, they make you.
Yep. Very vocal. We're not scared to be vocal. And we're also judge, jury, and executioner as far as social media is concerned. Like everybody's a legal expert when it comes to Oscar Pistorius. Yeah,
no, that is what I've noticed also. And people have been very harsh, of course, with Judge Masipa, very much pulling her integrity into question and the like. That, there were a lot of talks about underhandedness and payments and that sort of stuff, and that of course simply
all hearsay. Again, armchair critics, and yes, there were some fake stories making the media about they bet petrol bombed her car, but that wasn't true. So I've seen this morning that those headlines came out to say that story wasn't true. So yeah, very emotive, still a very emotive conversation about Oscar Pistorius.
Now, let's just quickly wrap up with what's happening locally. Of course, we love the Durban July. We love to dress up and have our picture taken. That was what happened down in Durban.
Yes.
Yeah,
Durban July is always a big media maker, and certainly didn't disappoint this year. But it came up against some stiff competition. I mean, we also had Eskom is firmly back in the spotlight, and the Gupta's back on the charts in relation to Eskom, and also the elections finally making an impact in social media. A lot bigger in news media. In news media, one of our biggest stories.
Yeah, absolutely,
this week,
and that's to be expected. But now I wanted to go internationally before we wrap it up quickly, Tonya. The US shootings, of course, that's massive. But Have people lost interest in Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, crooked Hillary?
I think no. I think that they've just changed their direction of attention. So Brexit is slowly coming off the charts, 43.54%. I mean, it's a much smaller statistics, maybe half of what we saw last week. So, but still a very big topic of conversation. Of course, we had Independence Day, the 4th of July, coming in at 12.3%, and that again is just because of the enormity of the media in the USA. You'll see that the Dallas killings the Dallas killings are coming in at just under 2%. Only started yesterday. People were complaining that there was no social media traction initially for the two shootings of those two black people. One in particular didn't even have a gun on him. So, but this morning now it's all headline news because the cops have been shot. In fact, I've seen a picture from the Dallas police station saying this is one of the suspects, which apparently isn't one of the suspects, and they failed to delete it. So a lot of chaos on Americans' media side. So yes, diverse media. NASA also sent their probe to Jupiter. They came in at just under 1%. Wimbledon is on the charts. Serena Williams firmly in the spotlight there. Top Gear's Chris Evans stepping down, or
apparently the most hated man in television. They really, even Matt LeBlanc refused to continue working with him, and that's what came out. You know, I know what it's like.
No, you don't.
I don't. No. But you know, as long as they're not indifferent, I suppose it's all good.
Absolutely. News headlines.
Tonya, thank you very much for joining us. As always, Tonya comes in and wraps up the week for us, tells us what's been going on and what we should be looking out for, of course, within this space that we operate in. That's the social media space, is as important as mainstream now. Thank you, Tonya Curry, the Managing Director of Roy Africa.